Welcome to DABCC Radio,
where smart people listen.
Virtualization and Cloud Talk,
Featuring cutting-edge solutions from the hottest companies around the globe.
broadcasting from the DABCC offices in sunny Sarasota, Florida.
Surrounded by computers, books, and Legos.
A Microsoft MVP, Citrix Charter CTP, VMware vExpert.
And your host, Douglas Brown.
Everyone, and welcome to another episode of DABCC Radio. We have another Citrix Ready episode for you today, and we have one of my favorite guys back on the show, a gentleman named Jason Smith, who's from also one of my favorite companies, Liquidware Labs. And then we have one of my favorite co-presenters, Sagnik from Citrix Ready with us. So we have a great show for you guys today. We have some great, really smart guys on the line, and today we're going to talk about Liquidware Labs user environment management, user profile management solutions. They're what they're doing around app management and app deployment with their FlexApp solution, and a bunch more. So with no further ado, why don't we just jump into this interview with Jason Smith from Liquidware Labs. Okay, guys, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us. I look forward to this. I love these Citrix Ready podcasts. I love having Sagnik. I love having you on the line. Or any of the Citrix Ready people for that matter. It just adds that different dynamic. So with no further ado, let's get into this. As always, the first question is who are you? So let's go around the horn and introduce everybody. So Jason, glad to have you back on as always. I think you're one of the guys that I've had on more than anyone else, which is really wonderful. You guys are great solutions. So Jason, can you tell us who you are and what do you do over at Liquidware Labs?
Great. Thanks, Doug. Jason Smith, Liquidware Labs, and I'm Vice President of Products. I also am key in leading our Citrix relationship. So I'm in charge of our Citrix Ready and the main liaison over at Liquidware Labs to Citrix.
Perfect. And Sagnik, can you tell us who you are and what you do with the Citrix Ready group?
Hey, Doug. Glad to be back. I'm Sagnik Datta. I work as the technical marketing specialist for Citrix Ready, validating and promoting key solutions and customers that can be leveraged on Citrix desktops and app. This could be regardless of any industry vertical. I manage validations across key verticals: healthcare, financial services, education, public sector. So yeah, if there is a software or hardware out there that you aren't sure whether it's compatible, I'm the man. Shoot me. I mean, not with a bullet, but like an email.
Yeah.
Shoot me an email.
Perfect. You are the guy. I mean, I think you probably know more about compatibility than almost anyone out there, don't you? Aren't you? Or don't you? I mean, you go through like everything, right?
Yeah, fortunately or unfortunately, yes.
Well, can you real quick describe what that's like? What is the process to take someone like a Liquidware, bring it into your, put it on your desk, then what do you do?
So yeah, we validate based on identifying key customer scenarios for partner product type and measure how well a partner solution meets that requirements. So in case of Liquidware Lab and Citrix Ready, that would mean how seamless the overall experience is, where Citrix Desktop already has a part of a profile management experience, and how it further enhances Liquidware, the overall experience. Are you able to log on and log in a Windows 10 VDA session as seamless as accessing remote apps, which is a Zen use case that we usually our end users use? Are you able to access data from your pen drive, or what happens when you switch from one endpoint to other? How seamless is that experience? Does your user profile still remain the same? And how to handle, like, let's say, double hop scenarios where a user logs into their desktop VDI and then launch a remote app published in Zen App Server through the VDI. So yeah, so for that, there are extensive testing that we, the Liquidware Lab, do in their in-house, and naturally they meet all the standards and manage to delight our customers in providing more.
Perfect. And what was it like to with Liquidware itself? I mean, what did what are your views on the Liquidware partnership with Citrix Ready, and what did you find when you tested their solutions, ProfileUnity?
So Liquidware are our Plus partners for over 8 years now. They are partner of this month, by the way. I want to extend my congratulations in person to Jason and his team for achieving that. And this isn't the first time. They were recognized as the most recommended VDI partner solution of the year a couple of years back as well. I see as Citrix continues to strive towards simplifying the app at desktop delivery for every use case for customers to be able to adopt cloud. It is natural for us to expect among us to expect more collaboration, more closer and continuous integration process between our two product lines. So this is why Citrix Ready is here to have those conversations, to have those discussions with these partners, and to share such value add to our customers. And this is the right place, the podcast.
I love it. I love these podcasts. We've done a lot of these, and I look forward to even more. So we have more scheduled too, which is great. So thanks Citrix Ready for making these things happen. This is great. So Jason, can you tell us, for those who are not familiar with the partner, Citrix's partner of the month? Gotta say that, right? Kudos to you guys there. If they're not familiar with the partner of the month of Citrix, Liquidware Labs, can you tell us who you guys are and what you're trying to accomplish?
Sure, and thank you to the Citrix team for awarding us that this month. So it's a new program, I understand, and we're one of the first to be awarded it, so we are honored to have that. So Liquidware Labs, we offer a full suite of solutions called our Liquidware Labs Essential Suite, really essential to any VDI or virtual type of environment. Also runs on any type of Windows desktop, so we support physical too, but purpose-built for solutions like XenApp and XenDesktop to ensure that the user experience and the user environment is very smooth and very robust, so there's nothing lost in the experience for if a user has switched over or if they have an ongoing and continuing desktop provided through Citrix technologies. And we're end-to-end in that business, and we're the only provider out there in the Citrix ecosystem that offers something that will get the customer through their full life cycle of onboarding a user. So we have a solution known as Stratusphere. Stratusphere runs as a user experience solution. It also has a fitness component and can tell you which users and desktops are ideal to go over to a new XenDesktop or XenApp type of experience. It can also help you design that ideal base image, for example. So you can right-size the environment, or if you're an existing customer, you can grow and scale those deployments. It's also very key to provide diagnostics, because once you go to a virtualized desktop experience, it's a little more difficult to see exactly where a bottleneck might be occurring in performance for a desktop. So Stratusphere gives you that in-depth look, not only what's happening on that desktop for applications, but applications in use. Maybe it's an IOPS bottleneck, maybe it's a storage performance bottleneck or a network bottleneck. We monitor all those, and we go probably deeper and broader than just about any other vendor out there in doing that to basically help you identify challenges before they become mission-critical problems, so your users are ensured a great user experience ongoing in the environment. The next step is to help customers get onboarded. So ProfileUnity can actually run in a legacy environment. It can pick up a profile, even in an old format, going back to Windows XP, or more commonly these days, you might be in a Windows 7 environment and go into a Windows 10. We can take those users across those disparate Windows OS versions and bring those right into a Citrix environment. Literally log off of one, log on to another with zero user downtime. So there's a lot of advanced features in there. Citrix provides some basic profile capabilities in their stack to do some of these things, but we go beyond by giving you a few added things like the cross-OS functionality, the ability to migrate users, the ability to pick up parts of the profile also that aren't in the Windows profile itself. So added value in there if you choose ProfileUnity. We also layer in applications through our FlexApp layering technology, so you can layer in applications on top of the base image. Now, this might be a little similar to what Citrix provides in AppDisk, but again, we added additional functionality in these areas, and we have the ability to layer in applications that have drivers and services and very complex applications. So sometimes enterprises might have a use to choose us over things that might already be existing in the Citrix stack. for advanced use cases, and that's exactly where we fall. For enterprises that need a little bit additional functionality, not only for user experience, but also for user environment management and application layering.
You got it. You guys are really just it's. We chatted about this a little bit earlier. It's what Liquidware brings is the complete solution, right? It's not just a Citrix solution. It's not just a Zen app. It's not just a remote desktop or whatever. It does everything, in the sense of desktops, layering, profile management, profile monitor, all that stuff, right? It's the complete solution. You buy this and you solve the problem. Is that a fair statement?
It is, and if you look at us, when you compare us against other vendors out there, we add a lot of value without sacrificing features. As a matter of fact, we lead in the area of features that go above and beyond a lot of other vendors in this area, while not becoming a distraction when you roll out a virtualized desktop. We're very quick and easy to set up. Each of our solutions require only about an hour per each to set up in a proof of concept and get them going. There's no added infrastructure that's required for any of our solutions. So we don't become a distraction from setting up Citrix or running Citrix. We actually can be put in very quickly and a lot of times can speed a Citrix project by knowing what the bottlenecks may be, by being able to right-size that environment and give a more robust user experience to the entire environment. Likewise, our price point. Literally, we sell our entire suite that I just mentioned for about the cost it would cost from any other vendor for about the price it would cost from any other vendor for a point product or a tool that might solve even one of those three things that I spoke about. So there's a lot of value to be had in our stack, and more often than not, customers actually choose the entire suite. We still sell them a la carte, but there's a great value in the full Liquidware Labs Essential Suite.
Perfect. And you had mentioned cross-platform, and can you talk a bit about how ProfileUnity seamlessly works with mixed environments, right? A little bit of Zen app, a little bit of Zen desktop, and a little bit of Windows 10, Windows 7, what have you.
That's a great question, because this really would let the listener know at a glance how we compare to Citrix User Profile Manager, which is a good solution. It makes a profile stick, so you have a persistent type of a desktop without having to have a persistent desktop. Our capabilities of managing the profile, we call them profile portability. It truly makes the profile a little more portable than UPM alone would. It picks up the profile, and literally at login, we do a quick query to see the type of the desktop the user is logging onto. Is it a Windows 7 experience? Is it a Server 2012 R12? Is it a Server 2016 type of experience? And all those have basically a different type of user profile. Microsoft has kind of broken the profile ever since Windows XP to where it's not fully compatible. Well, we stitch that back together right at user login, and we play the profile back to exactly where it should be in Windows. So these are capabilities that you wouldn't get unless you went to a solution provider like Liquidware Labs. And so we add a lot of value in that area. And when you get that type of functionality, you get the ability to not only onboard a Citrix user, so a customer can go from physical desktops to Citrix virtual desktops really quickly, even cross OS, but you'll also get the ability to keep in the environment mixed if you need to. And there's a lot of use cases out there where you have mixed Windows environments. And we believe, in what we've seen from our research, is that over 90% of Windows enterprises truly have a good diversity of Windows OSs. Everything, believe it or not, some still running Windows XP, but then Windows 7 and more commonly, and now Windows 10 in the environment. And they don't have a plan necessarily to switch everyone at a moment's notice. And Liquidware Labs provides the tie that binds those together with the user experience and also the user profile that can make that seamless. So the customer can upgrade at will as they go along. Of course, we always want the customer to be on the latest version of Citrix, but so that's where we ease that pain, because a lot of times that means a new Windows operating system. So we make that pain really easy and basically no pain for the end user that must log in between operating system environments. In addition to that, we introduced a new profile technology that runs in conjunction with this, known as Profile Disk. And this is some of the most exciting work that we're doing. There's been other attempts in the industry at a profile that comes straight from a disk, like a VHD or a VMDK. Our profile disk technology is truly independent, not linked to a hypervisor or to a machine, so it can play back the entire profile very, very quickly. And what that means is things like Office caching, like that you'd see in OST files for Microsoft Outlook, and also for Microsoft Office 365, which sort of mandates caching. You have very, very large profiles, some well over a gigabyte in size, and you can't really play back or stream that type of profile. So Profile Disk is some of the innovation work that we're doing. When added with the way that we can make a profile portability, it's the best of both worlds. There's no other vendor out there that offers such a solution as those two technologies together.
Yeah, Jason. You won't find a bigger supporter of XenApp than me, right? I love the idea of centralized computing. But what I found is not everyone's running thin clients. As much as, I love thin clients too. I've always, since 1990s, I've loved what I call MetaFrame and thin clients, right? Nowadays they're called XenApp and zero clients. But if they're not running zero clients, then they have Windows Desktop. In the user needs a unified experience, right? They need that. I log in and my icons, my settings, my wallpaper, everything, right? My apps are the same way they are on my local machine as they are on my XenApp, as they are on my Zen Desktop, as they are wherever, right? And if they don't have that, then it causes confusion, and confusion causes cost, right?
All right, and you certainly don't want to get off on the wrong foot with your desktop projects, and that, I think you said it best years ago in a blog that you wrote, that it's all about the user, right?
Yeah.
And so we take a user-first centric approach and really solve these things, where Citrix has far excelled on the data center side of things, is providing that back-end infrastructure to have a virtualized type of desktop. So it's a perfect complement together.
Yeah, it truly is a perfect complement. You got it. So we've talked about some of the technical issues and things. What are some of the business problems that you guys are trying to solve? What are the customers saying to you when they come? The CIOs and the IT managers. What are they trying to accomplish with solutions like yours?
Right. So, excellent question. And if you look at VDI, while we're doing VDI in the first place, our XenApp, and it was to basically try to lower the overall complexity of the way that we're delivering desktops. A lot of people said, VDI will never be less expensive than traditional physical desktops, and I'm not so sure that's the case. I think we've got new technologies that can get us there in storage, desktops as a service, Citrix desktops as a service included, and things like that can really dramatically lower your overall management cost of VDI. And we play perfectly right into that with our solution set. So we help design the environment from the get-go with Stratusphere UX, and help right-size that and keep it running smoothly accordingly by pointing to the smoking gun when you have a bottleneck. And then we also help lower the cost of delivering that virtualized desktop. But at the end of the day, you're still managing Windows somewhere. And we help dramatically lower the cost of managing Windows in a physical or a virtualized environment. And that comes from ProfileUnity, a central policy engine, single pane of glass for not only profiles but policies, and even delivering layered applications. Helps lower the cost of all those things. And the third thing I'd mention is that base image management, time consuming, and we really solve the needs in this area, not only for enabling you to run a truly non-persistent desktop, and go to a pool of desktops, but non-persistent pool of desktops, but we also provide the ability to keep you from having to keep cracking open those base images and adding apps or managing apps. And we do that through our application layering, where you simply snap apps in, even to a XenApp server. So in the past, you usually have a XenApp farm, and you may have at least one server per department. If you've got HA running, you've got a couple per department that had the apps on them that those users needed. And we've really caused the industry to rethink how they are managing those XenApp servers, because if you can get a farm of base images of XenApp servers, offer those to virtually all your users, and then deliver those applications just in time through technologies like application layering. And our application layering works perfectly with published apps as well, because in Citrix Studio you can choose an application that's been layered and then deliver that to your users. You can keep your base image management very low. So those are the business use cases that we solve largely helping lower the cost of delivering those VDI desktops, and finally making it a reality that virtualized desktops, including those delivered through XenApp, hosted published desktops, get down to even a lower cost than you ever thought was possible.
That's great. Sagnik, anything to add there? You always have great views on things.
Absolutely. So I agree to what Jason just mentioned about the different aspects of the value add that Liquidware provides. The managing user profile is one of the major component when it comes to adopting VDI as a solution into their environments. And Citrix UPM was included in our it's a great solution for administration to reduce burden, like to reduce login, log off time, and optimize user profile data, which can go up to hundreds of MB. But yes, it was never built for deployment which gets super scaled up, where naturally after the admins experience the first-hand VDI and its benefits, it's natural to scale up, and scenarios become more complex, the management gets more messy, and admins look out for advanced features. And Liquidware seems to be the solution. The Uniprint, this one is exactly what it is. I believe it's a very logical next step.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like that logical next step. But although I would change the next step to, logical to put it into your, how do I say this? It's you don't deploy and then fix. You plan, you fix, and then you deploy, right? So, unless of course you already have something in place and you're trying to solve problems, and then this is the logical next step. Absolutely. So, Jason, what are the customers talking about? What are they saying? Joint Citrix Liquidware customers about. Maybe give us some success stories.
Yeah, that's where the rubber meets the road, right? So I've got a couple I can talk about, and one of them it's really a cookie cutter type of approach. I mean, we are confronted with this challenge from Citrix customers very often. So Mountain States Health, it's a big hospital conglomerate in the Kentucky-Tennessee region, has 12,000 users, more or less, and about 8,000 of those are on Citrix-based desktops. They approached us some time ago, and they needed to get up to the most recent version of Citrix, and asked how we could help. Actually, Gartner recommended us because we seem like the right size solution for the job, and they had run into their limit to what they could use with the included stack, because what they wanted to do was be able to coexist operating system versions without having to change their entire infrastructure. They had some server farms they could not touch because they had some applications that were specific and could only run on certain versions of Windows, so they couldn't upgrade them all at once. So they wanted to have users have a seamless user profile experience to go across those. So they rolled out ProfileUnity to the 8,000 desktops. And we were able to keep them coexisting. In this case, it was XenApp at the beginning. Coexisting across multiple versions of XenApp and Windows was really the cause there, to be able to have one single profile per user and not a single profile per OS, which would double their profile woes. So ProfileUnity was seamlessly able to do that. Well, the next year they called us back, and they said, well, I have to add something that's kind of a funny story too. Our sales rep tried to call them 6 months later, and no one really would call him back and everything. And we thought, well, that's kind of weird, but not too uncommon, because ProfileUnity sometimes runs seamlessly enough to where they don't really need to speak to us. Well, they called us back the next year, and they said, could you give us a training on ProfileUnity, because some of the staff that initially rolled it out left, and it's been running by itself on autopilot for a while now, and we have extra needs, and here's the extra need. So we said, sure, we'd be glad to give you guys a training, and we were pleasantly surprised to see that it had been running silently in the background doing its job just as it does. So there's not a lot of overhead, not a lot of cost. And once you set it, it can run indeed to do basic functionality like we're doing there for coexisting the environment. They wanted to add more Citrix seats. That was the other reason that they were calling us. And they said, how can you be helpful in doing that? Well, we started to ask them. So as I mentioned earlier, 8,000 Citrix user, 12,000 overall desktops, including physical. So they made the decision to actually license ProfileUnity for all their desktops, all 12,000, and we would manage the user profiles in the physical environment too. This gave them the added benefit of being able to get those physical users into additional Citrix desktops. And they did subsequently go ahead and sign up and expand their Citrix environment to more Zen desktops on top of Zen app. So we were successful in helping grow and scale that client together with Citrix, and it was a really truly much better together story. Mountain States Health Alliance. So that was one, and I have one other I'd like to cover. Pretty good use case though. Do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's that one. I love to tell people about that story, and we've got more like that. That was one that we're able to tell publicly because not everyone likes to say, how their sausage is made or how they're running their desktop. So, the other one was Cox Communications, a huge media conglomerate based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And if you don't know Cox Communications, they own Auto Trader, they own newspapers, including the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and some newspapers in Texas, New York, and around the United States. They also own Cox Media, Cox Cable.
Yeah, I was going to say, I had Cox Cable back in, I want to say, Iowa. Maybe it was,
right.
Yeah.
Still one of the leading cable providers nationwide. And exactly, that was the group that reached out to us, was the Cox Cable Group. They had an interesting use where they wanted to choose Citrix to power their desktops for their retail locations. Cable companies still have retail locations. You can go in, you pay your bill, drop off your equipment, and pick it up and everything. Well, Citrix was running all those point-of-service terminals, and they needed additional profile assistance in there to not only be able to be dynamic between operating system versions, but to do some really neat context-aware settings. To take thin clients, and I believe Wise was the one there that they'd chosen running Citrix, and to be able to identify, which thin client the user was on, which cache register drawer was there. It was part of the environment and the apps that they were using. And so we identified the user with the cache register drawer with the apps that they needed to use, and to be able to do that all on a context-aware basis and to coexist it if they wanted to go across multiple operating system environments. So several thousand users there in all the Cox Cable retail locations using both Citrix and ProfileUnity. So it's another very interesting use case, and a kind of a common one too. Context-aware settings are very popular, especially in hospitals for printing and things like that. So those are some of the core problems that we solve with our ProfileUnity user environment management and FlexApp application layering.
You got it. My next question is for both of you guys, so I'll let you fight over who wants to answer first. No, let's take Sagnik first. So, Sagnik, why Citrix and Liquidware? Why does Citrix need a company like Liquidware? What value does it bring beyond everything? Of course, we've talked about that, but maybe beyond everything we've talked about already.
Yes. So as I see Citrix to work towards the vision that we believe in, to transform digital workspace, to be able to manage all Citrix technologies from a single control plane hosted on Citrix Cloud, which is the next big thing. I see end users and IT admins' life further simplified, and we want our customers to leverage a number of automated tools and customized for their environment using, for example, Citrix Lifecycle Management, which is part of the service provided under the umbrella of what we call today the Citrix Cloud, previously the Citrix Workplace Cloud. And Liquidware comes in, and in fact, last year I believe they worked with our team to build a blueprint on CLM that essentially automates all the Liquidware components required for Zen apps and desktops. So I see a number of things here where Liquidware and Citrix together are able to solve a customer pain point and be able to deliver a very good value to them. And yes, I think that's why one should go for Citrix and Liquidware.
Perfect. Jason, anything to add there?
Well, Sagnik brings up something that is very interesting. As we look, where's this all headed to? And well, first I want to say Citrix Ready as a partner. Why Citrix? Well, the ecosystem is unmatched, where they still leave room for Citrix partners, even in the wake of things like UPM. I mean, and NorScale now recently adding in some basic profile functionality. There's things that customers get in the stack, and Citrix still acknowledges that they have an ecosystem to fill the gaps in other areas. So we appreciate that, and they're a great partner that fully acknowledge our place in the ecosystem, and we're glad to play that role. But Sagnik mentioned about our cloud lifecycle management template for Citrix Cloud, and we're happy to do that and get that verified just a few months ago, and one of the first lifecycle blueprint templates to do anything for Citrix Cloud. What this does is gets ProfileUnity spun up in the cloud. So as we look to see where this is headed, Citrix and Liquidware have a great role to play with Citrix cloud-based desktops. We have long embraced desktops as a service. Liquidware Labs has, and we go back several years with the vendors that had pioneered in that area, including now Citrix taking a leadership role in that area. We're happy to play that role too, no matter where your desktops run. They're more or less still going to be powered by Windows for business purposes, whether that's on a XenApp server publishing desktops seamlessly or making them appear in HTML format. And then there's still a profile in the background. And we're able to work at two levels of that. We're able to help deliver those applications through our FlexApp layering that can be published through Citrix Studio and also be made available as basically an HTML-looking application. And we're able to keep that user experience for user environment management seamless all the way across. So we're really looking forward to the advancements that Citrix is making in the area of cloud and the cloud industry as a whole as we look to the future of where this is headed.
Awesome. Jason, I have one more question for you. And that is a question I tend to ask on almost every podcast, so I want to make sure I squeeze in this, and this is the competition question. So as you mentioned, like the NorScale stuff, there's other companies out there. There's been a lot of acquisitions within the UPM, the user environment management space, in the past 12 months. Where do you guys, why should someone care about what you're bringing to market? And again, you've mentioned this throughout the entire podcast, but if you could consolidate it into, why should we care? And have at it.
Well, I think if you look at where these acquisitions took place, they were to fill gaps in most cases. I mean, with VMware, they filled some gaps. With Citrix, they filled some gaps in some basic functionality that they had, and customers demand at least a baseline functionality. The funny thing is, if you look at all these challenges, they're actually Windows challenges caused by Microsoft. The customers don't care. They want Citrix to solve it, or they want VMware to solve it on the other side of the coin, and Citrix is doing a great job in taking a leadership role in this area. So if you look at the way that their baseline solutions came to be, they were gathered and brought together, and many customers will benefit from what is in the Citrix stack. Many other customers will benefit from purpose-built solutions, single pane of glass from the ground up, that are innovating in this space to provide things above and beyond what are in, where Citrix is filling a gap for a specific customer need. Liquidware Labs is thinking well beyond the box, because Citrix focuses on desktops. They're the best in the business at delivering a remote desktop, whether it's virtualized, whether it's XenApp, and customers know that they can come to us for an equal partner that's focused on user environment management, user experience, to help with the diagnostics in these areas. So, we do what we're best at. We're going to keep our head down. We're going to continue to provide the best all-inclusive, comprehensive suite for workspace environment management for enterprises that need those additional features and are looking for innovation in application in not only UEM, like with our advancements in profile disk, profile portability, also application rights management in those areas, but also for user experience diagnostics. Some of the other things that we're leading in that area is working with companies like NVIDIA to provide metrics that have not yet been seen in the industry that can help you with GPU sizing, and we know what's per app even. And some of those things that we're doing are exclusive in the industry. So it's really a perfect complement. Our partnership with Citrix, I feel, they focus on desktops. They make the best desktops in the business. We focus on workspace environment management, and we feel like we make the best workspace environment management in the business that customers can step up to when ready.
Perfect. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time today. I think that's all I have. So if there's anything else, I'll give you guys the last word. But otherwise, we'll go ahead and call this a podcast. Jason Sagnik, as always, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. And what else do I say? Well, one more question. Jason, if somebody wants to learn more, what do they need to do? And you can add that part of your last word. Sound good?
Sure. So since you mentioned, I'll go first. Thanks for having us on. Thanks, Sagnik. Thanks to the entire Citrix Ready team for naming us Partner of the Month. So we're honored. And if people want to learn more, liquidwarelabs.com, easiest place to go to. A lot of videos there, but you can download and try any of our solutions without waiting on a license key. There's a limited license key that is included when you download our solutions. You very likely could have any one of our 3 main solutions up and running within an hour if you download them. So check that out. If you need an extended license key, just ping us at sales@liquidwarelabs.com, and we'd be glad to follow up with you. Thanks for having us on.
Hey, Jason, one of the most downloaded or most visited pages on my site is the Liquidware free stuff. You guys actually give away some free tools to like CTPs and vExperts and things like that. Can you talk about that real quick?
Sure. So vExperts as well as CTPs, they get a 25 user license. They can use our solutions in their lab, play with any of them. Those licenses do not expire. So we actually give them a full license key. 25 users should be more than enough even to kick the tires around and run a virtual desktop environment based on Citrix and Liquidware Labs in their home environment.
Awesome. And if you're not a CTP or a vExpert, just email or just bug Jason on Twitter or something, and maybe he'll help you out. Wink, wink. So,
Absolutely.
Sagnik, anything else to add?
Absolutely. Thanks, Jason, and congrats again for being the Partner of the Month, and thanks, Doug, for hosting this.
Okay, so that concludes another successful episode of DABCC Radio. As always, I want to thank my guests for today, Jason Smith from Liquidware Labs and Sagnik from Citrix Ready and Doug and Sagnik Hour. That I was sort of joking about that, but to be honest with you, I really love having Sagnik and Citrix Ready on the line with us because it adds a different dynamic, right? It's that view from, it's a different view. And the more views you have, the better, right? The more information you have, the better. So at the end of the day, I just really love having him on the line. He always has something great to say. And, of course, Jason does, too. Jason is one of our longtime vendors or guys that have been on guests, really, that's been on the show for years and always has great things to say. I just love having Jason on the show. He's a great guy, too. And Liquidware makes great solutions, really, truly great solutions. I have known many of their happy customers. Let's put it that way. So on that note, I want to thank the most important people, you guys. So thank you for listening to DABCC Radio. Definitely check out, I'm so happy to say, the new applications, the new mobile apps are out. DABCC is almost done, guys. I've been working on this for a couple years. The site is brand new, upgraded from rewritten, really, from the ground up. It's beautiful, it's easy, it's fast, it's powerful, right? So then we turned our attentions on our mobile apps and updated those guys. So we have a new DABCC news player, which is really awesome, and it's a great way to stay up to date with all this news that's going on the go, right? When you're laying in bed, when you're waking up, when you're going to sleep, when you're going to the bathroom, when you're waiting at that customer site, waiting for the guy or the gal to show up, right? And you're sitting out there, open up the DABCC News app and stay up to date with the latest in enterprise IT, right? And the virtualization, cloud, mobility, you name it. It's all there. We also updated our podcast player, too. So if you like these podcasts, download our podcast player and just get them on the go. It's a really easy way. I mean, you can always get them from iTunes and about 10 other different locations, right? Or via our RSS feed, right? or listen to them on DABCC or the DABCC mobile app. But the DABCC podcast app is just the podcast. It's a great way to say, hey, I have a few minutes, or I'm in my car and I want to just play this podcast and play it and have it go over Bluetooth to your car stereo or the headphone jack or the lightning port if you have an iPhone 7. And, what do I say? Guys, check them out. Download them. Go to the App Store, either Apple's App Store or Google Play, and just search for DABCC, and up they will come. Download away. Let me know what you think. They're 100% free. Who doesn't love a good app for when you're looking for something to do? I'm constantly good apps. And I really like them. I'm rambling. Thanks, guys, for listening to DABCC Radio.
Can you say DABCC?
DABC.
Say it again, DABCC.
DABC.
Can you say it again, DABCC?
DABC.
How about DABCC?
DABC.
DABCC.
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 DABCC.